Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. So I decided to start making these videos because a lot of friends and family were asking me how I do certain barbecue techniques and how I make certain dishes. So I figured it was easier to have videos that I could share than to just pass off a recipe or to try and explain it to someone. So feel free to watch them, leave some comments or some advice if you see anything that can be changed. These videos are probably going to suck for a little while until I get used to doing it, but feel free to subscribe if you want to get notified when I put new videos out. I'm going to try and put about one video per week out if I can. And yeah, thanks for watching. Let's go cook something. Hey, how you doing? Welcome to our barbecue channel. I decided to start doing this barbecue channel because a lot of my friends and family were asking how I made certain things. We just got my dad a new Grilla Grills chimp for Father's Day, so I wanted to make some videos to show him how I do a few of my different recipes and a few of my different barbecue techniques. And that's why I'm using the Silverbac today. This is the Grilla Grills Silverbac. So the Alpha controller has two modes. It has both the Alpha control, which has a higher swing rate for more smoke, and then it has a PID controller in it so that once you set it, it'll stay within about 5 degrees. It's got a 20-pound hopper. It's a really great grill. So today we're going to be cooking some ribs. I'm just going to be doing some spare ribs that we get from Costco in the cryovac. They're not the best ribs in the world, but you'll see when we're done they're going to be delicious. So, all right, let's get to cooking. All right, so now we're going to be preparing the ribs. I got these Franken ribs from Costco. You can see that these are way thicker than normal ribs. And to get the membrane off, you want to pull this membrane off here. If you don't, then the ribs are going to not be easy to chew. You can't chew through it, and it won't be easy to cut either. So you want to get a paper towel, get right under here, and you want to try and get the fat end of the rib come away. Once you get that, grab the paper towel, pull it down. It should come off in one piece, just like that.
Gross.
Yeah, totally gross. So we're gonna repeat this with all 3 racks. So these are a rough rack of ribs here. You're gonna run into this every now and again where it's extremely difficult to get that membrane. A lot of people get under here with a spoon or a knife, a butter knife. I don't feel that's necessary because it just sort of gets in the way. There we go. So you can take it a piece at a time, just keep pulling, and the paper towel really helps you grab onto this. These ribs are in kind of rough shape, and you can hang on to this extra meat. There's little snacks for the pit master. I'm gonna shore these up a little. This is all. This right here, this type of meat is going to burn if you just have it in there like that. So I'm just gonna trim it right off. Okay. So I'm gonna take off a lot of the thick fat. Man, these are some rough ribs. This is what you get sometimes in those cryovac packages. So what I'm looking for when I'm picking out my ribs was the bones, if they were fairly straight. You don't want to get super crooked bones. These are actually pretty crooked, but I figured I could work with these. They're fairly straight. You want to try and get them as straight as possible. For backyard barbecue, it's not that big a deal. Up a bit, and it doesn't have to be perfect. A lot of this is going to come off in the cook, render out. So I'm going to look at the other side. This can all go. This super thick fat right here, that's not good stuff. That's going to stay. That's fine. So these are very fatty ribs. I don't think I've ever seen a rack of spare ribs this fat. It's like 1.5 inches thick. So we're going to continue trimming these ribs, and you'll see we get this chine bone in here sometimes, and you just want to get around that however you can. And take off the globules of fat. These are really, really rough looking ribs, but we're gonna make them delicious. The cool thing about barbecue is you can take a suspect piece of meat and make it really good. But shame on you, Costco.
Yeah.
These are Okay, so now we're just going to be applying a binder. I just use yellow mustard, just one strip. I'm doing the bottoms first and rub it in. Really simple process, you'd think. Just a light coat of that. A little bit of salt, pepper, and garlic. Just light coat here. Don't need too much on the back. Same thing on the front. Try and only use one hand on the meat. You don't want to get your bottles contaminated. That's enough right there. Very good. Now, got this new pork rub from a new company called Crawford's BBQ. They're local to San Antonio. I'm going to try it out on these ribs today. Looks really good, tasted very good. I took a little taste test. We're going to put a pretty liberal coating of the rib rub on here. Medium to heavy. That looks nice. Same thing on the other side. Smells good. I'm going to put a pretty heavy coat on here, especially with these super thick ribs. I don't know why these are so insanely thick. And we're going to be wrapping these ribs, so if you're wondering why I'm putting it on so heavy, a lot of this rub is going to come off when we wrap. I'm going to get the sides too. All right, I'm gonna repeat this step with the other two racks, and then we're gonna go throw them on the grill. Okay, so now we're gonna be firing up the grill. We're starting late today, it's afternoon, so if we wanna get these ribs done, I'm gonna run it a little bit hotter than normal. Typically, I'd have one of these smoke tubes to add a little bit extra smoke flavor. I don't think a lot of people online understand that this is a wood-fired grill. And if you look over here, you can see these are pellets. This is cooking pellet. They're competition blend. Really nice pellets, but it's just compressed wood. I would normally add some of these to the smoke tube to add a little bit more smoke flavor, but today I'm just gonna run the grill. And I'm gonna run this, let's run it at 250 today, because we have to go a little bit quicker. Normally I'd run these at about 225 degrees, and this time I'm gonna leave it at 250, and we're gonna cook them just a little bit faster. So something to note about these pellet grills, this is by Grilla Grills. Sorry, it's not completely clean. I do a lot of barbecue out here. And something to note is I like to put the foil down here on the heat deflector. These pellet grills are not direct cooking. These are indirect ovens basically, and they're wood-fired grills, which means these pellets are getting fed through an auger, and they're going into a burn pot that is going to burn and smolder whatever type of hardwood that you're putting in there for the flavor. Okay, so now that the grill's come up to temp, you can see that it's not really smoking anymore. We have our ribs, they're starting to sweat. The rub is really setting into the meat. Since we're under a time crunch, I'd normally let this sweat out a little bit more, but we can throw it right on here. You can see we already have that fat monstrosity on there. And we're just gonna slide these in. Now, however you position these ribs, plump, or if you pull them loose like that, see how long this is, but you can plump them up. However you position them is how they're going to cook. So you can literally almost create a fatter rib just by doing that. Now we use two different rubs on these ribs. This one is the Crawford's. We're going to try that for the first time today. And over here, this one has, the middle one has both Crawford's and some the BBQ rub from Killer Hogs. And this smaller rack is only the BBQ rub. So we're going to try the mixture and the difference between them. They all have a little bit of salt, pepper, and garlic as a base. All right, let's close this down. Let them cook.
Iconic.
So now we're going to check the ribs and see if they're ready to start spritzing. They've been on for about an hour now. And you can see we're starting to get some really good color. We're looking for that mahogany bark. We want it to tighten up a little bit more. The rub is looking really nice, but the real way to test it is just press your finger on it. If it comes away like that, if it pulls away onto your finger, it's not quite ready yet. It's not ready to start spritzing because you're going to wash all of your rub off. So what we want to do is close it back down and check in about a half hour. Okay, so now we've come back out and we're taking a look at these ribs. With a touch, nothing's coming off. It's time to spritz. Now you can use whatever liquid you want to spritz. Today I'm using some cran grape. You can use apple cider vinegar, you can use water. The whole purpose of this is to calm down any spots that are getting dried out, any spots that are really starting to get burnt. Right now I'm going to do a really light coat just to wet the tops. And it does add a little bit of flavor, but I'm going to give these a little squirt down. I'm actually glad that happened. So this right here, this is what happens when you don't let the rub fully set. We're a little bit in a rush today, so that's okay. We can always cover that up later. So close her back down. Check it back in about 20 to 30 minutes. So we're spritzing the ribs again. It's been about a half hour. We're taking a look at them. See, now we're really starting to see what we're looking for. I'm going to put this on spray now. Really give it a good coat. Chill them out so that they're not burning. They're looking really nice. Okay, and don't be afraid to get pretty crazy with it. And you can see here, we're starting to see some pull away on the bone here as well. And that's what we want to see. The next time we come out here to spray them, I'm going to be looking to see if we can start wrapping. And it's going to be pretty quick after that. So we're ready to wrap. And I've put 2 pads of butter on here. We're using the Kerrygold Pure Irish butter. You can use any type of butter though. I know that some people use squeeze butter because it's easier. It all works. If you're going to do this method, you need to make sure that the butter comes up to room temperature so you can spread it. I've made 3 of these sheets. And I'm using this really heavy-duty barbecue Texas foil. It's really thick. It's about twice as thick as regular foil. And I just ripped off three different sheets and I spread the butter. So the next thing I'm going to do is put some honey in here. Add some brown sugar. For the diabetics out there, I'm using this Lakanto monk fruit sweetener. This is the golden one. It's supposed to replicate brown sugar. It works really good. It works just like brown sugar. It's a little bit lighter to work with, kind of like regular sugar would be. Just put a pretty good amount on there. And then we're gonna wrap. So the last thing that I add in before I wrap is just a little bit of this vinegar sauce. We're gonna finish it later, but this just adds a little bit more something. Just one strip right down the middle to the ribs. That's perfect. Okay, so we're gonna wrap these meat side down. These are absolutely ready to be wrapped. So we're gonna put them in here. The way I do it is I bring them up. You want to keep as much air as possible out of the foil. So you want to get it to where you're really bringing it down, flatten out the sides, just fold up. When you place them back into the grill, you want to get all of that out of there, pretty warm. Slide it right back on, meat side down. All right, I'm gonna do the other two. Okay, so this is what we're looking for. We're getting some disintegration on the back of the ribs. The bones are coming out a little bit. These are really fat ribs. You can take these little burnt parts off. You don't have to if these are just eat at home ribs. But I just wanted to show that's how you know it's getting there. When we pull these out of the foil, these are going to be totally pulled back and super tender. It's been about an hour, and we're going to check these to see how far they're coming along. My alarm's going off right now. I get a lot of dripping out of these. Yeah, see, all the bones are showing through. We have definite bend where it can bend. It's not breaking. These are ready to come off. Okay, so now we're just going to get the juice out of here and flip these over. Don't have to go crazy. Just enough to get them to where they're not exploding with juice. Pretty sloppy job. Someone's got to do it. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is making these individual little boats out of the existing foil. You can use new foil. I don't see the need in wasting it. Just tuck them in a little bit. Be careful when you're lifting. See, these bones are coming right out. We have one falling out.
Ooh.
Now we're ready. We're gonna let it stop cooking. We're gonna let these cool down. I'm gonna do this for the other two, and then we're gonna sauce them up and put them back on the grill. Okay, so what I did here was just mix two sauces. I got some molasses-based sauce, which is about 4/5 of the mixture, and then a vinegar-based sauce. And I heated them up, and I'm mixing them together now. Getting a good mix. And now I'm just drizzling on. And this, you can even use this and pour it over. I'm just gonna do it the old school way and just dab it on. So we're gonna do a mud finish with this, which means we're gonna also add some of the rub, and don't forget the bones. Now the one I'm doing now was the rack that had both the Crawfords and the killer hogs. You see there's really good pullback here. Keep applying until the whole surface is covered. So I'm really impressed with how this Crawford's barbecue rub worked on these ribs. It looks fantastic. I'm gonna get a little bit more on here just to mud it up a bit. I'm gonna add a little bit more sauce on top of there too. Same mixture of sauce as the other ones, but this is really impressive. All right, I'm gonna let these rest for about 2 or 3 minutes and put them right back on the grill. Okay, so we're checking the ribs now, checking the sauce. Still looks a little tacky. You can see it's bubbling here. Once it tightens up a little bit more in there, then we'll be able to take these off and cut them up. All right, these are looking very good. Now this is the rack that had both the killer hogs and the Crawford's barbecue rub on it. I'm gonna do the most iconic thing ever with this carving knife. Ready for cutting. Oh, pulling it. Nice. Nice and juicy. Staying together, but they're also falling apart. Looks nice. Okay, so there's only one last thing to do. That's to try them out. Really good. That Crawford's is really good. Very tasty.
Yes, Queen.